Welcome, everyone. I'll just wait for you guys to join. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and share. If you're watching on Facebook, I've added a description in the link today. And if you're watching by Facebook, if you're watching by YouTube, you can also see the description in the link where you can, I know this is like someday to be doing a live broadcast as we're all on the edge of our seats. I already know Trump won. You guys can, whatever at this point. But don't let that stop you from watching me today. I'm actually going to share this, and I'm going to ask you guys to go ahead and share. And while you're sharing, share with your groups and so on and so forth. This particular live today, even though I'm specifically emphasizing Judge Anthony Mcginty of Ulster County Family Court in the state of New York, mothers, fathers, people that are watching out there, young teenagers and young adults that have been put through this hell, be sure to watch. Be sure to watch. This can help you too. I see victims hopping on already that I know for years. And this is for you. I want to let you women know, mothers know, if you have been victimized by Anthony Mcginty of Ulster County Family Court, we have started a group called Mothers Against Mcginty. Mothers Against Mcginty, but this will help everyone, okay? This is a growing trend, first of all, in America for the past 30-something years, where mothers are losing custody for no reason whatsoever. No reason whatsoever. And what we've discovered is that fathersrights.org is behind this. It's behind this. Good fathers don't do this. Fathers that don't have domestic violence background, fathers that are not abusers, do not take sole custody of children from good mothers. Okay, they don't do that. And so these men use the court system to continue their abuse of women and children. So I am speaking about it. That's what I'm doing, to draw attention to it and to expose it. As you know, I support all the good fathers out there, and I am supported by very high volumes of good fathers. So thank you, fathers. Thank you, good fathers. Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's get on this topic right away. I have been interviewing numerous mothers throughout the years with the same exact pattern of abuse. I have the videos, and I will be showing these videos soon with their testimonies. These testimonies are non-disputable at this point. One mother the other day was crying through the whole interview as her children are currently being abused. And what Anthony Mcginty does, and what he's done, and there's people here that are watching me right now that I know throughout the years, even if your cases are closed, we want you a part of this as we expose him. As we all know, we have exhausted every single remedy out there. He has particularly targeted me because I expose him, and so I will expose him further. I will expose him more. And he has endangered the life of countless children in Ulster County, and now he is, see, what happened is during my case, he was admonished and sent to Sullivan County. I don't know how that's a punishment, because the only persons that are punished by that, because he has to drive a little farther, I guess, the only persons that are punished by that are the mothers that are victimized by him now in Sullivan County. So if you are a Sullivan County mother and you have now been subjected to Anthony Mcginty, please reach out to us as well. This is going to be very helpful for what we are doing. We are going to make a public spectacle of this dangerous man. He has severe mental illness. I've had psychotherapists and psychologists see what he's doing through their victims, and they have court watched him. They have witnessed him throughout the years, and they agree that he has a serious pathology and a sociopathy. I am just repeating what I've heard. I am not a psychologist. I am not a doctor. I am not a mental health expert. However, I do work alongside mental health experts that I trust due to the fact of what's been happening nationwide in these pathetic family courts. Absolutely pathetic family courts. When they take children out of good lives that will produce good, healthy future outcomes, and they place them into these dangerous homes, they have caused them severe harm. And the ACE scores, it's adverse childhood experiences, their scores go up. Their scores go up. In my particular case, if you guys have ever read my book, I can't keep a copy of my book because of the amount of people I run into, punished for protecting the injustice system of family court. You will see my true story. Anthony Mcginty collaborated with the opposing counsel, Andy Gilday, which would be my son's father's attorney, public defender, and the child attorney, Amy Ingram of Kingston. She was appointed in 2014. She has never spoken for the child's wishes, and she's never one time even, she literally puts she puts a blindfold on and plugs her ears when it comes to any abuse to my son and the horrific background of my son's father. And so I will be much more public and much more outspoken about this case because, like, I've talked about my case. I put it in the book, and I mostly have interviewed families throughout the years. But I will be talking about this case to expose it, because if we do not get the remedy and the relief overall as women and children, we will be exposing everybody that we've gone to for help that ignored and turned a blind eye. Now, anybody that's watching right now, you guys know you've been through this as well. And these are normal, decent human beings. These are not people that do drugs. These are not parents that do anything wrong, literally just have your life robbed from you by Anthony Mcginty or judges like him. Okay, so we're literally going straight after Mcginty to expose him. There are the two book holders on each side. We'd have Judge Mizell and Judge Savona in the Ulster County Family Court. But remember, guys, this covers numerous judges all across the country and what we've been exposing. Now, when I spoke before the New York State Assembly, I gave their statistics. We talked about this before. You guys can watch it. It's on my YouTube channel. It's all over Facebook. It's reached, I think, 50,000 views on Facebook. It reached 7 million viewers in the state of New York through the Assembly. And I don't know, something like 5,000 or 6,000, maybe 10,000 on my YouTube channel, punished. It's in the link here. You guys can go search through all of that. And you definitely want to watch this and get informed as much as you possibly can. I will be reading some of your comments, ladies and gentlemen. I have been interviewing children throughout the years by the consent of their parent, and if they are at an age old enough to speak free will, speak because they've been silenced. I look at it this way: if a child has a child attorney, then why are they not in the court? Not that they should be, because they shouldn't be stressed out to that level. They shouldn't be going through what they're going through. But in many instances, they should be, because the child attorneys lie. They intentionally lie about not only the child's wishes, but they lie about the safety or lack of safety that the child, gets, like when they're with that abusive parent. So I am basically giving you this information. Oh, Jill Nelson. Yes, I'm going to be having to, Jill Nelson, if you don't mind, I'm going to have you, I think I have my email in my description. You and I need to have a little conversation. You and I've seen some of your comments on my YouTube channel. I'd like to know a little more about you. So anyway, I'm glad I see you on here. As a matter of fact, let me try to find Jill Nelson. Yeah, I have to find out, because I'm pretty sure, are you the woman, if you can comment, that's commenting on my YouTube channel? Are you the same Jill Nelson? I just want to make sure. So anyway, yeah, so basically throughout the years, I endured, personally, I couldn't believe what went on in family court. I mean, I remember when the first time was that I entered family court. It's not something that I would ever put myself in. I would never want to go to a place like that. And what I witnessed there was just low standards, no accountability, no standards. I was like, originally you go in and you think, I'm a law-abiding citizen. You have that thought in your head. I'm a respectful human being. I have a good job. I've never been in trouble with the law. I've always come from a good family. And you think you're just going to have a simple thing, and you're there as long as the child is 18. You just don't understand that. Nobody understands that. You're saying, you have a clean background, and you're there because the father, has this criminal background and domestic violence and child abuse and drug history, and, from a family that has a horrendous background as well. And you're thinking this is going to be simple. Like, how could it not be? And you find yourself in this vortex of insanity. And, then when I started going public after what happened in 2016, when I worked with Bill Weishaupt, that's William Weishaupt of the Ulster County District Attorney's Office. I gathered all my victims. I was advocating for years at that point. And I gathered all my victims, and he helped me compile 70 victims of their evidence. And I mean, I saw pictures of bruises on children and cigarettes. I told this before. One person put a cigarette out in their child. It was a father. And the mother had to still keep sending the child or go to jail. This is a threat. They threatened the victim to go to jail because they want to do what's normal, which would be you would normally protect your child from that. Now, New York State is Penal Code 26010. There's that same penal code in every state in the country. Whatever it would be under, which is if you knowingly and willingly send your child where they would be harmed somehow. Okay. You would be in trouble for that. It would be a misdemeanor up to a felony, right? And then yet the judges force you to do it or you go to jail. Like, where's the logic in that? And so what are you doing to people? What are you doing to families? And why is this allowed? Why is this country allowing this? And so when I went through my process, I remember going with groups of people. We've taken vans up to the FBI. I mean, we went everywhere. We went everywhere before I had that initial craziness that happened in 2017. And when I filed all of this with the Committee on Judicial Conduct that does nothing to help you, and they'll keep sending you back to them. When I initially, we did this, and here I did it. I started out with the Ulster County Sheriff's Department. We were trying to figure out how to protect our kids. It made no sense. How do you protect your kids? Like, I raised my daughter without an issue. Her dad never, fine till this day. She's married, and I never would even dream of taking him or him taking me to family court. And, we just did our thing. Normal people do the right thing. So you have to realize that if you're entering into a family court, first of all, there's nothing family about it. The people there, I really personally, this is me personally as a person, as a human being, I really feel like the majority of them have severe mental illness. And I don't mean that in an emotional mental way, because they've caused me, and if you read I have lots of paperwork, they've caused me to have acute PTSD. It doesn't affect me in everyday life. It affects me in court, obviously, and yet I can go fight for other people. And sometimes it triggers me, but for the most part, I'm able to breathe my way through it. And you learn techniques to take care of yourself, right? And those that are watching, you guys really probably understand this. It violates everything about your life. It violates your just daily, the beauty of the day. It violates it violates the Constitution. It violates just humanity. It violates for me, in my case, like I haven't worked the full-time job for over 4 years now. It violates your livelihood, the way you normally would make money. It violates the fact that you, as a healthy-minded, discerning human being that knows right from wrong, how to protect your children, it violates that. I'm sure everybody can relate to this. So what I saw was like this growing trend of women, just great mothers, like people that I associate with, that are my friends, that have become my friends, that have good, clean backgrounds. We don't do drugs. We're not alcoholics. We're not out beating people up in the street or having altercations in our homes. We have clean, safe homes that we provide for our children. And it blows my mind that this happens all over the country. I look at the Thomas Valva case. I look at, Justine is a wonderful woman. I look at the case with Miss Franchetti with her daughter. That's just, and and all over the nation I see this. All over the nation I see this. But with this emphasis on Anthony Mcginty, I will be showing you a series very soon. I'm putting them together of mothers throughout the years and current cases right now, where Anthony Mcginty took women who have been abused, and I'm not talking about women that make stuff up or punch themselves and gave themselves a black eye. I'm not talking about women like that. I would never in a million years associate with that, okay? I'm talking about literal cases where you see criminal backgrounds that go on for years, preceding the woman that's going through this, and continuing. That in my particular case, like, why would you want your child around a heroin dealer? Hello? And this should be commended, not punished, right? Treating children the way you're supposed to, raising children in the proper manner should be commended, not punished, right? And that's part of why I wrote Punish for Protecting the Injustice System of Family Court. And why I've upped my game protecting mothers and children at this point, because I see what's happening. And I've seen many of these fathers that I tried to help. I later found out they were full-blown abusers. and I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I literally stepped in and did what I could to help them. And as I got to know them, they started doing very crazy things. Some of them manipulate you because they want you to be silenced. They want you to defend only the fathers. Okay, and they do that, and they're very good at this manipulation, like I would assume any woman would be if she's like that, abusive. But I have seen way too many good and decent, normal mothers be completely destroyed through the system. And I've seen what it's done. And so some of my videos that I've done, some of my latest interviews that I've done, many of these mothers are showing their face, their names, who they are, and they are telling their stories. And we are looking at we're working with their therapists and so on and so forth. We're looking at police records and so on and so forth. And they're unable to protect their children because in the county of Ulster, and I know that this is happening in Long Island, it's happening in Albany, it's happening in Buffalo, it's happening in other states, because these judges are rendering these orders, where they're taking the woman out, the protective mother out, what's happening is what it does is it traps them. It traps them from protecting their children. And their children, some children speak up, other children are afraid to speak up because it causes them further abuse and harm. So that happens, and these judges know it. They know that they're trapping them. So what is happening there is that they're re-victimizing victims, and then it endangers the children even more. Let's talk about cases where maybe the child's not being physically hurt, sexually or physically, but they're being mentally and emotionally hurt. So what I see happening with all the youth that I work with is that it's not a fatherless generation issue. No. This is an abuse issue. Okay, I'm all for fathers in the home that are healthy, safe fathers. Okay, we're talking about abusers here, and that's what we're going to be talking about, abusers. We're talking about abusers. Children should not be around abusers. Period. Okay, they don't need therapy time with their abusers. That is insane. Anybody that wants to put a child in therapy time with their abuser should sit with an abuser themselves then. You should send your own children then and send you some therapy time with an abuser. I mean, I think about just how psychotic that somebody would actually dream something like this up. Why would anyone want to be put with an abuser and have therapy time with their abuser? I mean, what is that? Like, who thought of that? Who dreamed that up? Hitler? That is absurd to me. Absurd. So if a woman gets raped, she should spend some therapy time with that man so she could, get over it? Or start to forge a relationship with him? Like, who concocts this crap? So that's just insane, okay? That's insane. Insane to me. And so that's what we've dealt with the family court, is insanity. And so I have literal stories. I've posted a lot of them. Soon you will be seeing the actual mothers and their cases. A lot of the youth speaking out now. I know of a case that dates back when he first was on the bench that he literally did not allow a father who proved his DNA. Now, he goes after mothers primarily and children. He has a serious pattern of abuse. But he will also taunt good fathers. So if the woman is the abuser, he will make sure that she gets the children. This is what he does. But the pattern of abuse is women and children, and they're coming out of the woodwork. Okay, they've been for years coming out of the woodwork. The Committee on Judicial Conduct did nothing whatsoever with the 70 cases that we did in 2016, 2017, and that is when Mcginty gave my son's father sole custody back then, which we were blown away. He removed my child from a protective order that was finally given to him when the father literally bruised his legs and tried to rip him out of my arms in Kingston when I was just being nice and letting him see him on a parade. Okay, that was back in 2016. He was arrested for that, and he was placed on a protection order. Finally, my son was finally placed on a protection order. Mcginty removed the child and let me stay on the protection order. So I was allowed to be protected. The child was not. Okay, this is commonplace. And when I sit with these women and I hear their stories, you feel like your own story is being told over and over again. Over and over again. And again, these are not women that tell tales. These are actual crimes. Mcginty will put on the court orders that the fathers have been convicted of these crimes. New York State will give confidential address program. New York State will give protective orders. And yet Mcginty will give the children to the perpetrator. Why would anybody do that? Why would anyone do such a thing? Why would you do that to children? Now, these children, they get to the point, here's what happens, is they don't want to be in these homes. They do love those parents. Okay, you're programmed to love your parents, and you should. And they don't understand what's happening. They become Stockholmed, which we'll talk about. Many times they just have to figure out ways to stay where they are while they're being abused. You know how heartbreaking it is to kids when they can't go to the police? Like Saugerties police harasses women and arrests them. Somehow they're affiliated somehow with a Mcginty. There's some weird thing going on there that we're getting to the bottom of. Marlborough police have been mostly very good. Marlborough, New York. We know what's going on down in Long Island. Like there's a lot of child pedophilia going on down there where the judges and the police all cover up. Kingston police, I've heard many of them have been like blown away and disgusted by it all. Some are very obviously corrupt too. Some are just like rookies, so they're easily led. Some are against what's happening, but they don't do anything about it. So to me, they're cowards. District attorneys far and wide will say the same thing, like it's not our jurisdiction. They'll use that, it's not our jurisdiction, which is like you want to take your head and slam it against a wall. Like what is child abuse never not somebody's jurisdiction? How's that possible? When are crimes not your jurisdiction? Because it's guised under family court. You got a little pretty package of, not even pretty, but family court guising it, disguising it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So how is it not your jurisdiction? How is it not the FBI's jurisdiction? How is it not the whatever politician's jurisdiction? How is it not the assemblyman's jurisdiction? It's everybody's jurisdiction when children are being abused through a family court judge. Now, Anthony Mcginty, what we're doing with him specifically, and we like to see everyone follow suit across the country and across in your counties and states. Find the judge that's doing this, because they're all doing this. They're all doing this. Find the judge that's doing this in your area, gather your victims, and publicize it, and have them come forward, and have them talk about the abuse that they've endured at the hands of a judge. Because once you've been abused by somebody as a person, and like, why would I have 12 protection orders in a row if the person wasn't guilty? How could I possibly make that happen? How could I make that happen when all I did was stay away from that person? Okay, let's think about that right there. Let's just put a little basic, I know common sense has left the building, but let's just do that as a matter of fact. And the last one being a 3-year criminal. How did he get 4 felony criminal warrants against him, hide in California for 8 months, and that all got squashed? We got to get to the bottom of that and figure out what happened there. How did that happen? Like, I certainly didn't harass myself. Okay, so you violate a criminal protection order and you get children. Like, how does that happen? And I see this happening all over the country. And when you see these mothers, when I bring this live with all these mothers and their cases, and you hear what's happening to their children, not only will it break your heart, but it'll probably piss you off to the degree of high levels. So yes, I'm doing this today while we're waiting for the election to come to a head here. But I felt it was very important that I brought this out, because I'm not giving full stories right away. We have strategies for what we're doing. You're hearing my dogs breathing. But I felt like it was very important that I got this out to prepare everybody for what we're about to bring forward, and a whole lot more. We've been fighting for a number of years. We've gained some ground in many instances. We've gained the attention. And I do believe that, obviously there needs to be more to come, but I just don't understand how public servants get away with doing this. And so we figured, well, since they won't arrest them, okay, which I believe will happen, but since they won't arrest them, we're just going to make public spectacles of what they are doing. So then this way, they want to do this to our lives and our children's lives, and you destroy these kids. What happens is, this is why I believe I work with youth in youth groups for churches and stuff, and I know what happens in their lives. And it's not because of fatherless homes. Again, I'm going to repeat that. It's not because of fatherless homes. It's because of effed up homes. It's because of dysfunction in homes that cause children to not know what to turn to, so they start to turn to drugs. And then what happens to their futures? And this points back to judges making these orders. So I had this one mother, for example, that dates back, and he took her boy years ago. And I didn't have him as a judge back then when I met this girl. And I was just like, he took your son. Well, here's the story. You want to hear the twist on this one? He gave the child sole custody to her ex-boyfriend, not even to the biological father. I mean, he does things that are so bizarre that is so questionable and scary that this person would be sitting in a position of power, rendering orders for families and children, that you have to really question his mental state. And as the years have gone by, and when you hear the stories that I'm about to bring forward, the interviews that I've already done, and you see the decisions that this man has made, you will be blown away. You will be blown away. You will be absolutely blown away. But like I said, he is a carbon copy of many throughout. Now, we had the judge in Sullivan County. You guys seen, actually, my son stepped in. He jumped on it. He just did. When they were at the Human Rights Board in Sullivan County with regards to McGuire and the Bill Lubick guy who's on the head of the Human Rights Commission in Sullivan County, he's trash too. And I could tell, like, I didn't know who he was at that point until later. I could tell he was getting all upset because of what was being said about McGuire. But obviously McGuire's butt got kicked off. He no longer is judge anymore, okay, in Sullivan County because of the harm he's caused countless women and children. Again, very typical and very similar to McGinty. McGinty got put in Sullivan County as a judge as a punishment for what he did to me and my son. And wait till you hear the rest of this story. But like I said, how is that a punishment for him? It's a punishment for the mothers that are victimized by him now in Sullivan County too. McGuire's punishment was to be kicked off and publicly embarrassed for what he's done to even rape victims. But now McGuire, I believe, became a district attorney. So he's getting a paycheck as a, I believe, a district, some type of an attorney higher up. And he also is still getting paid as a retired judge, early retirement, for the shame he put on himself. Wow, that's a punishment? That's not a punishment. Okay, we should be highly pissed off about that. That's not a punishment. These people have harmed lives. This is intentional infliction of pain and suffering. And it has to be handled. It has to be dealt with. It has to be properly admonished. I tried to explain this, that the third department admonished the criminal court, one of the criminal courts in Kingston, New York, because they were handing out slips to appear in court. They were handing out slips in court to appear in court to alleged defendants. Now, this isn't a family court matter. I'm talking about a criminal court. Now, I want you guys to think about that for a second. How is that right? You have an alleged defendant. Let's say they're guilty or not. We don't know. It's an alleged defendant. That's due process, right? Okay. You hand them a slip. Most people can't handle going to court once in their life. Family court victims go to court for 18 years. That's very stressful. If you're allegedly being seen for a crime that you did or didn't commit, let's say you didn't. Let's say you did. Let's say you did. It's stressful, okay? You're going to jail, maybe for a very long time, and you might be guilty. Scary. And you're an idiot, but you did something wrong you shouldn't have done, okay? But it's still alleged. That's due process. You're innocent, but because of how the system is, you've been handed a slip. That's not proper service. That's a violation of due process. Now, many people, tell me I'm wrong. Many people go into these criminal courts and or family courts with a public, we call them public pretenders. They're not all bad. Many are really bad. And they're going in with a public defender that's been put on their case who reads it like you read a Pop-Tart box, okay? And then you don't even get to talk to that person, and you go in. Now you're here, your life is at stake. You're being seen for potentially committing a crime, or you're just an innocent parent, not understanding anything, and you're being brought in and you're worried about your kids, okay? And you're just going in and they're just like haphazardly, you're like a puppy mill. You know what I'm saying? You're just in there before this judge that doesn't know you, doesn't know your family, knows nothing about anything. And boom, 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 and rubber stamp, and your kids are now what? And then, or you yourself are going to jail. And like, this is just crazy making. So they were admonished in January of 2020 in Kingston. I called and I found out, and then I had the third department call me to verify this. And they were literally admonished for handing out slips. Well, family court, Ulster County does that too. Now, for me personally, nobody can serve me. Nobody can serve me but the ACP, which is the Address Confidentiality Program, which is in Albany. Nobody can serve me. That's because of all the protection orders. And my son is a part of that too. So my son should never have been in the house of the person he's protected from. Common sense. Does the court understand this? No, court does not understand this. Has the court disclosed my address to the father? Yes, he has. Yes, they have. And they poo-poo it off. There's the 33-year, she'll tell you, I worked here for 33 years, Elaine Steinmeier of the Ulster County Family Court. Well, for 33 years, honey, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. And you try to explain it to them and they get all like, I'm sad that I have to explain to you your job. But, many people do the same job for years, and because they're in that little box of their job, that's all they know. That's all they know. But there's more ways to mop a floor. Some people come in from the front door to the side. Others come in from the window to the other side. There's other ways of doing things. Okay? It's like a medical doctor that only knows medicine, but then a holistic practitioner that comes along and heals people while they're just camouflaging sickness. And people think, well, we got to listen to the medical doctor. They're smarter. Okay, right. Meanwhile, you are not having the same quality of life that you would with a holistic practitioner by even 1,000,000%. You're not even close. Okay. My sister, being a holistic practitioner, has completely healed people from stage 4 cancers. No joke. And medical doctors will put you in remission. What would you rather? I'd rather be completely healed. Not for nothing. But people want to listen to medical doctors, and some are good, and some are just trained how they're trained. So shouldn't we be educated, and shouldn't we want to learn other ways, other approaches? So when it comes to due process, though, when one aspect of due process is violated, everything's wrong. Everything is wrong. But who suffers? Your children suffer, you suffer, your life suffers. And yet we keep these family courts going. Why? Now, how about during a global pandemic when people didn't know if they were open, were they shut, what's essential, what's not, cases aren't being seen, parts of the cases being canceled, all of a sudden you're back in court. People don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. But they're doing the same processes all the time that they've always done, and they think they're right. And they think they're right. And you're going in with these public defenders, and sometimes you're spending exorbitant amount of money on a paid lawyer, and you're still getting the same effed up results you would have gotten without a lawyer. And yet it's your family that's being affected, your children that's being affected. By the time you get in the door, they don't listen. You got judges like Anthony Mcginty that don't give a crap about children. I mean, I know of emergency cases that he puts out for months on end, or he ignores, or he refuses to look at, or he just doesn't care. And it's well known to the community that, I know this from police officers who have driven him home, that he snorts cocaine and he does alcohol. So, whatever happened, years ago, attorneys and judges, it was an ethics thing that you really weren't supposed to do things like that. But you're making decisions for families and children? Really? Really? And why is it that I have an ever-growing list of mothers that just keep coming and coming and coming, where he continues to give fathers sole custody of their children? Why would you give sole custody to a father when there's nothing wrong with these mothers at all? Why would you do that? Especially when they have criminal backgrounds like they do. Now, I don't know about you guys, but anybody that I talk to, no matter who, and I talk to a lot of people, and I know a lot of very reputable people, for years, cannot get over what a disgrace this man is. Anthony Mcginty of Ulster County Family Court. Nobody can believe it. Nobody can believe that this man is still sitting there with all the complaints, and the Committee on Judicial Conduct is doing nothing. I spoke again, like I said, before the New York State Assembly, okay, and it was the Excellence Initiative. Let me talk about that a little bit. That would be Judge DiFiore. That's her Excellence Initiative. Can I tell you guys, and I have everything recorded. See, I'm very smart that way. I've got recordings and audios and children and you name it, begging for mercy and help and protection. It's really sad we have to go to these extremes at this point. And do you know that just like the Committee on Judicial Conduct, who doesn't even respond to people anymore when they complain, the Excellence Initiative doesn't write back, doesn't call back. Do you know how many clients throughout the state of New York have complained? and don't get any response at all. I'm sorry. Where's the excellence in that? Isn't the common decency to respect human beings? Why are we not getting the respect that we deserve as human beings? Who are these people? What are they doing? What kind of a shit show are they running on the backs of our children? Does that make you happy? I mean, I want to know, are you concerned about what's happening? These are your kids' futures. And let me tell you something, my friends. I know some of you parents are like, don't really like your kids around so much. But when many of us parents are fighting to protect ours and love our children around all the time, some of you just can't take the stress of COVID and your kids being in the same house with you. So you want to haul them off to public school. Do you have any idea how dangerous that is? Shoving them off to public school during this pandemic. Let me tell you a little bit about that. When they shove something up your kid's nose, or when somebody in the school gets COVID. So you think they're going to send all the kids back home to you when somebody gets COVID? You know what could possibly happen? I mean, I'm just thinking, and it's happened, that some of these kids, if somebody gets COVID in a public school and they're sending them back home on the bus, they might not do that, because I would think that they could be contagious at that point. I don't know. They might just segregate the kid that's got the COVID. They might do that. They might not, because that kid could have been around a lot of people in school. I mean, I'm just saying, isn't that common sense? Am I wrong? Because I could be wrong. I could be maybe overthinking. I don't know. Maybe not. Don't know. But it's a concern. I don't like public school. If I had to choose, I'd choose Marlboro, because it's definitely way better. But you got a couple of idiots in Marlboro, let me tell you. Oh my God. You got some really great people that I love, and you got some idiots in Marlboro that just want your kids in public school because they get money for your kid being in public school. Let's face it. Like if I sold grapes versus apples, I'm gonna advertise for the grapes. I'm gonna say grapes are better than apples when they both have nutritional value, right? But I'm gonna fight for the grapes because I work for a grape company. So they're gonna do what they have to do. They'll say anything in court. They don't care. It's your kid. What do they care? They just care about the money that's coming in. They don't care about your child, your children. They don't care. Okay? There are teachers that do care. Please don't get me wrong. I come from a family of educators. So I'm saying that, rightfully speaking. I come from a family with a lot of teachers in it, and I come from a family that have, taken early childhood development courses and so on and so forth, classes, graduates of. Okay, I personally love kids. Obviously, I wouldn't be fighting the way I do if I didn't. Okay, but it's pretty disgusting what's going on in this country. It's quite sick and you see Black Lives Matters tipping buildings over and lighting them up. And some people are mad about that, and some people understand that after a while, that's how disgusted you get. So that's my opinion on that. I just have an opinion. I'm not saying everything they're doing is right, but I can relate to the fact that you do get sick and tired of being abused, to the point that you might start tipping buildings over and lighting them up on fire. I'm just saying. Okay? I'm only kind of trying to relate that to, do I agree with all the stuff that's going on? Of course not. But how many more children have to be abused by family court judges like Anthony Mcginty, or child attorneys like Amy Ingram? That I can't even begin to tell you how many older kids I've talked to, and she literally stands up in court and says the child wants this and the child wants that, and she just lies. She stands there and lies. She puts it in writing and lies. And then the kids they're crying hysterically to me as an advocate for their family. And they're going, I never said that. I don't want that. Oh my God, he's done this to me. He's done that to me. Da 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 da. Why would she say that? Why would she do that? And where does she come off crossing the line from child attorney to therapist? She has no right to do that. And she's one of many. Obviously, the right to lie by the Supreme Court shot that down. But does she care? No, because she doesn't care. Because why should she care when the system is geared to harm? And people say, it's broken. I know. No, honey, it's not broken. It was built shitty. It was built to harm. Okay? That's the truth. And why then, pray tell, would something that's broken be there to help fix your family? Why would I go to a mechanic that's broken to fix my car? Why would I go to a doctor that's broken to fix my health? Why would I go to a grocery store that's broken to buy groceries? Like common sense. So why is it okay for people to go, I know, family court's broken, but it's what we got. It's what we got. Like, oh my God. Oh my God, that's almost as dumb as Joe Biden. Like, really? It blows my mind. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. I walk into these family courts and I see what they do to families down in Long Island. Oh my God. These judges are so arrogant. They think who the hell they are. They treat people like total garbage. They treat people like total garbage. They tell you can't speak. They tell you can't come in. They tell you can't have an advocate watch. It is insane what goes on. It is literally like going to a third world country, and just, it's like Hitler took over. And it is absurd behavior. It is despicable. I've seen them take children from good homes and put them into really bad homes, bad neighborhoods, from good neighborhoods. Like, no decent parent that loves their kid would do that. That's why I say only abusers do that, and they only do it for control. They're not doing it because they love the child, because if you love the child, you make sacrifices. You make sacrifices for your children. You make sacrifices. You don't put food in your mouth because you're feeding your kid. You make sacrifices. If you can put your child in a better school, you aim for that. You work more. You know what I'm saying? But you don't take a child from a good home and put him in a bad home. That's an abuser. You don't take a child from a good school system and put him in a bad school system. You don't take children from a good, safe neighborhood and put them in a dangerous neighborhood. That's not loving a kid. You make sacrifices. You don't pretend that somebody is a bad mother when they're a good mother because you want the child, because you want to control, because you're an abuser. These are abnormal behaviors. And then what do these fathers do? Or abusers, if it's a mother, but I'm working for the mothers. What do? They go to judges like Anthony Mcginty that have a pattern of abuse against innocent mothers that are good mothers, safe mothers, non-drug addict mothers, non-alcoholic mothers, mothers that protect their children, mothers that love their children, mothers that sacrifice their lives for their children. They go to him so they can get sole custody. This is what they do. And you guys are going to see it when I expose all these mother after mother after mother after mother after mother. And then you hear the stories about what's happening to their kids, and how their kids are being abused, and how the mothers are being stalked by police, and how the mothers are being harassed, and how the children are afraid. I've known of kids that have ran from their homes and the police bring them right back in, even though the child is saying that they're being raped by the father. Now, the kid has no access to the mother, so the mother's not coaching the child, and then the mother gets word of this, and then the child, it's just disgusting. And this is going on. I promise you, this is going on. This is happening. This is happening. And every time I find out what the judge is, it's Anthony Mcginty. Why? 14 years of Anthony Mcginty. Anthony Mcginty, you are a sick individual. You are so evil, it's not even funny. And Amy Ingram, I don't even know how you stand yourself. I don't understand how you stand yourself. And any judge that's like you two, or attorneys that are like you, God, I would never want to be you on Judgment Day, because one day you're going to meet the actual judge, the real judge. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But I do believe that it's going to happen here on earth. I really do see this coming very, very close to a screeching end. So anyway, guys, I just want to put this out here. Keep watching, and thanks for your likes, subscribes, hit the bell icon. If you need help, there's Book a Talk. If you need help, if you want to read the book, it's in the link. Punished for Protecting the Injustice System of Family Court. Again, we're going to be exposing everyone that didn't come to our aid, that didn't help, that didn't save children, that didn't protect them, and allow them to be abused. It's called failure to protect. These are crimes. These are crimes against humanity. And the group is just growing and growing and growing. And we want you to join. We want you to do it in your community, in your county. It won't be hard to find an abusive judge. Unfortunately, there's way more of them than there aren't. And it's sad to say. It won't be hard to find an abusive guardian ad litem. It won't be hard to find an abusive child attorney. They're very easy to find. Just open your eyes. All you got to do is look to your left or look to your right, and you'll find one. Sad to say, isn't it? All right. God bless you guys.